my sister texted, "You're out of the wedding. Real family only." I said, "Fine. Pay your own bills." My phone buzzed at 7:12 in the morning, and I almost ignored it. But the preview showed my sister's name, Olivia Kensington, and something in my chest tightened before I even opened it. "You're out of the wedding. Real family only." I stared at the screen, rereading the sentence as if it might rearrange itself into something less cruel. But it didn't. I typed back slowly, my fingers steady in a way that surprised even me. "Fine." Then I added one more line. "Pay your own bills." And I hit send. The moment the message delivered, the silence in my penthouse apartment in Chicago felt heavier than it had just seconds before. Because Olivia didn't just disinvite me from her wedding. She cut off the person who had quietly been holding her entire life together. Let me take you back, because none of this started with that text. It started years earlier, after our parents passed away within 6 months of each other. Olivia was 21. I was 27. And suddenly, everything fell on me. Her tuition at Northwestern. Her rent in a downtown high-rise she insisted on. Her car payments. Even her credit card bills, which she swore she would handle eventually. I didn't argue. I didn't complain. Because she was my little sister, and I thought that was what family meant. Sacrifice without keeping score. At least, that's what I believed back then. Olivia, on the other hand, adapted quickly to a life where things simply appeared when she needed them. If her rent was due, she texted me. If her car declined at a boutique, she called me. If she wanted to upgrade her car, she sent me links until I gave in. And every time, I told myself it was temporary, that she would grow out of it, that she would become independent. But independence never came. Comfort did. And comfort, when it's unearned, turns into entitlement faster than you realize. By the time she met Daniel Whitmore, she had perfected the art of living like everything was hers by right. Daniel was exactly the kind of man Olivia had always imagined for herself. Old money, Connecticut upbringing, family connections that opened doors before you even knocked. He proposed within a year. A ring that probably cost more than my first condo. A wedding planned in Newport, Rhode Island, at a venue overlooking the ocean. And somehow, even with all that wealth surrounding her, Olivia still leaned on me for everything that didn't look glamorous. Vendor deposits, last-minute cancellations, even her emergency shopping trips before engagement parties. I paid without hesitation, not because I wanted to impress anyone, but because I still saw the girl who used to crawl into my room after nightmares. The girl who used to hold my hand at our parents' funeral. I thought that girl was still there. I was wrong. The first sign came 3 months before the wedding. We were at a dress fitting in Manhattan. Her bridal party stood around her, complimenting every detail, every adjustment. I stood quietly in the corner, watching. At one point, the consultant asked, "And who's walking you down the aisle?" Olivia didn't hesitate. Daniel's father offered, so I said yes. I felt something shift inside me. Not anger. Not yet. Just distance. Because no one had asked me. And maybe I shouldn't have expected them to. But still, I had been the one who stepped into that role years ago. The one who showed up. The one who stayed. I didn't say anything. I smiled. I told myself it didn't matter. But moments like that don't disappear. They stack, quietly, until they become something heavier than you can carry. 2 weeks before the wedding, Olivia stopped answering my calls as often. Her replies became shorter, colder, more transactional. Send $3,200 for final floors payment. Need $1,800 for guest welcome boxes. No, please. No, thank you. Just expectations. Then came the message. You're out of the wedding, real family only. No explanation. No context. Just that. Let me ask you something. If you were in my place, after years of giving everything without question, would you have responded calmly? Or would you have said something you couldn't take back? Because in that moment, I chose calm. But calm doesn't mean weak. It means precise. And I knew exactly what I was doing when I told her to pay her own bills. The next few hours were quiet. Too quiet. Then the calls started. First, Olivia. Then her fiancé, Daniel. Then numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I opened my laptop. I pulled up every account connected to Olivia's expenses. Her rent. Canceled. Her credit card auto-pay disabled. Her car lease transferred to her responsibility. Every safety net she had taken for granted gone in less than 20 minutes. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because reality was long overdue. By evening, my phone rang again. This time I answered. Olivia's voice wasn't confident anymore. It wasn't sharp. It was shaking. "Ethan, what did you do?" I leaned back in my chair, looking out at the skyline. "I stopped pretending you needed me only when it was convenient." There was silence on the other end. Then, "You can't just do that 2 weeks before my wedding." I let out a slow breath. "I didn't just do anything, Olivia. I did it after years of doing everything." She started crying, and for a second, I almost folded. Almost, because that sound still reached something in me. But then I remembered the message. "You're out of the wedding, real family only." And I realized something. Family doesn't get rewritten when it's inconvenient. Family doesn't get erased with a single text. And if she could say that to me, then maybe I wasn't the one breaking anything. Maybe I was just finally seeing it clearly. The next day, Daniel called me personally. His tone was controlled, polished. "Ethan, I think there's been a misunderstanding." I almost laughed. "There hasn't." He paused, then lowered his voice. "Olivia is under a lot of pressure right now. Aren't we all?" I replied. Another pause. Then he said something that changed everything. "We assumed you were helping because it made you feel included." I sat up slowly, because that sentence wasn't careless. It was revealing. They didn't see my support as sacrifice. They saw it as something I needed, like I was the one benefiting from being useful. That was the moment everything shifted. Not the text, not the disinvite, that sentence, because it showed me how small they had made my role in their lives. Let me ask you this. How long would you stay in a place where your value is only recognized when it's convenient for others? I didn't argue with Daniel. I didn't explain myself. I simply said, "Then you won't miss what I was doing." And I hung up. The wedding happened without me. I didn't see the photos. I didn't watch the videos. I didn't ask anyone how it went. Because some chapters don't need updates. They just need closure. Weeks passed, then months. Life became quieter, simpler, and strangely lighter, until one evening, Olivia showed up at my door. No warning, no message, just standing there, looking smaller than I had ever seen her. Her designer confidence was gone, replaced by something real. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside without saying a word. She walked in slowly, looking around as if she didn't recognize the space anymore. Maybe she didn't, because the version of me who used to live there was gone too. We sat across from each other. No scripts, no rehearsed lines, just silence stretching between us. Finally, she spoke. "I didn't realize how much you were doing." I nodded once, not as forgiveness, just acknowledgement. She looked down at her hands. I thought it was just normal. I leaned forward slightly. It wasn't normal. It was love. Her eyes filled with tears again. But this time, I didn't rush to fix it. Because not every tear needs to be rescued. So me to be understood. We didn't solve everything that night. We didn't go back to how things were. Because going back isn't growth. It's repetition. But we started something new. Something quieter. Something honest. And for the first time in years, it didn't feel like I was carrying the weight alone. It felt balanced. It felt real. And maybe that's what family is supposed to be. Not perfect, not easy, but mutual. What's your personal reflection? If someone you sacrificed everything for suddenly cut you off, would you walk away like you did? Or try to fix it one more time?